It is 6 o'clock, so we'll call the meeting to order. All members are present, including the representatives. So there was one addition to the agenda, which we will cover later on. Moving on to approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as posted.
I'll second.
By Gerald, second by Thomas. Roll call vote.
Bruce,
Aye.
Cheryl.
Aye.
Jacob,
Aye.
Rachel,
Aye.
Thomas,
Aye.
Gerald,
Aye.
Ron.
Okay, is this the one I gotta abstain from?
No, this is
the
just approving the agenda.
All right, I approve. Aye.
Okay, motion passes. No public comment. Moving on to the consent agenda.
Cheryl, would you like to review bills?
Yep, I did go through the bills and there were a lot of them, but they were all pretty common things, so. Filling in things that were missing from classrooms and whatnot, it was all pretty normal. I did notice that we are ordering our new Chromebooks,
Correct.
and a bill came in for those.
Yep. We were actually pretty excited to get that order in before prices went up. So it was, I was appreciative that Leah was on top of that. So that was good.
That's all I really noticed.
Personnel, you're going to see some hires, resignations, and retirements. The biggest bulk of what you're going to see on this consent agenda are all of the non-union at-will contracts. And so just as a reminder, the way that that process works is that I review with the board committee what will be offered to the employee groups. I met with the employee groups, Amanda and I did together. And so what you see reflected is what was discussed with the board committees and the employees that they were presented. So I would stand for any questions on the consent agenda. Otherwise, I'll just turn it back to you. Oh, and I want to go back to donations.
I was just going to say that.
So our donations tab, scrolling all the way over to March 24th. Let me share this so Ron can see this as well.
I looked at it.
Okay. So you're going to see some Concert in the Park series donations. You're going to see some Booster Club donations for our for softball jerseys. There's a follow-up to Early Childhood Playground. There was a Donors Choose. And Donors Choose is a program that teachers can submit essentially a program request for, and various people throughout the country can select projects and then they can donate to, and it's through the organization called Donors Choose, and then it goes directly to the classroom. So whenever we get those are added as donations as well. So there are some pretty cool donations that came in. Again, I do want to just take a second to say thank you. Our school is it's so much better when our community looks out for us in many different ways. And so thank you to the various entities and community members who have supported our school through donations this month. Okay.
I did have one question. I noticed some of the contracts were for 25 to 26 and some were through 27.
So the ones that are, so the individuals that you saw, 25, 26, that was their notice of assignment. They're covered under the program personnel handbook, which we're going to approve later on. So their second year, they'll get a second notice of assignment, but for the intent and purpose of communicating what the contract looked like, you're going to see that first year of their notice of assignment, and then they'll get a second notice of assignment, which will go out in the month of 26, 27. But the data around that is outlined in the program support personnel handbook.
I did see that, but
Okay.
It must be a new way of doing it.
We've talked, we're trying to figure out the best way to streamline these at-will positions and communicate them in a consistent manner. But when we hire, for instance, when we hire a new staff member in pause, they're consistently on the consent agenda for their new hire in the same type of format. So we're trying to be a little bit more consistent in how we communicate to the board.
That clears it up. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda.
Motion by Gerald,
I'll second.
second by Cheryl. Roll call vote. Bruce,
Aye.
Cheryl,
Aye.
Jacob,
Aye.
Rachel. Aye. Thomas,
Aye.
Gerald,
Aye.
Ron.
I gotta abstain.
Okay, motion carries. Moving on to the communication items.
So do you want me, I know you have a place to be, so should I, is that okay? Okay, so for administrative report today, hi, come on in. Administrative report today, a few things I just want to update for you. One of the things that I think is, this isn't super great, happy news. We were caught off guard by this yesterday. We received notification that our summer food service program, we are no longer eligible to provide our summer food service program. And that's a big deal for our community because we have a lot of families that have relied on, I mean, when you sit and think about the number of families that we've served through our summer food service program, we are we are perplexed as to how they are making the determination. Because what you'll see is that in 21-22, we had 247 individuals identified for free and reduced lunches. And this year we have 278, so it's actually increased. We don't quite understand why that is. What I'm afraid is that they're using, instead of the direct certification numbers for our free and reduced lunches, I'm afraid they're using the forms, the application for educational benefits. So I want to put this out. It's a little unknown right now, but the reason I'm putting it out today is when we got the information yesterday is because we've sent it back and said, is there, what else can you? Transparent as possible, but as soon as we got this information, we wanted to try to get the information out to our families. So, unfortunately, more to come, but just, again, we don't quite understand. They haven't been able to respond the second time to say, well, this is what we're using. And I also want to acknowledge we are not unique. When we looked at the map of our surrounding communities, many surrounding communities are no longer eligible. And so it's a little bit confusing, but it's a 5-year application cycle. And so we applied in 21-22 and they said we're not eligible to apply. So more to come on that, but that's just a, and no, you can't. Okay. And then secondly, the governor's budget was released on Friday. A couple things that just to draw to your attention from where there's an educational impact. I've talked a little bit about the Blue Ribbon Commission and how the Blue Ribbon Commission is charged with evaluating special education costs, and special education costs are called, it's called the cross subsidy. And what that means is that the dollars that are not covered under state aid or federal aid that are covered through our general education program is called the cross subsidy. And that has been a growing cost for many, many years. And there is a funding source to help support school districts. It's called a cross subsidy reduction aid. And that's an area that the governor has said, if the Blue Ribbon Commission cannot cut special education costs, that's where it's going to come from. Unfortunately, in his budget proposal, that increased from $250 million to $300 million. So it's certainly something that, for instance, I get to be at the Capitol with Speaker Damath on Thursday. I will be talking to her about my concern around what that means for school districts. Okay. You'll also see there's ongoing conversation around literacy aid distribution. So what we have done with our literacy aid is we've funded positions such as our academic K-12 specialist, who has been helping to support our multi-tiered systems of support across the district. And then it also helps support all of our letters training that took place. So we're watching that, and that's those are. So I just included the summary of his budget, and just to kind of keep on the radar that it is important to tell the story about the things that happen when you see something at the legislature, what that means for us and how that impacts us at our local level. Speaking of special education, I did want to share some data from our West Central Education District. So this is a similar document, and I'll share that one instead. So this is a similar document that I shared last year. This is our year-over-year federal entitlement. Because we are part of an education district, all of our federal funding for special education flows through the West Central Ed District. So let me, so the and this is based on your December 1st child count. Most everything else that we do, we use an October 1st child count, but special education is December 1st. So you'll see that this is a breakdown of across our education district. We have 5,703 students. Within Paynesville, we have 958. So this is our total enrollment, not special ed kids. These are our total enrollment back up the bus. Very, very different number. Our total enrollment was 958. Now come down to the second chart, and our special education numbers are 1,092 across the ed district. And in Paynesville, we had 201. You'll see the percentage of our student population that's identified as students with special education needs. Okay. So then if you go down just a little bit further on the chart, you're going to see the federal funding that flows through the education district and what is allocated for us as a school district. Okay. The 420 is our birth to 3 population, and the 419 is our 3 to 22. Okay. Why I share this and why I think it's, well, I'm going to show the next one because then I want to just have a little deeper conversation. So this is our specific information, and I'm going to make this bigger because there's no way any of us are going to be able to read that. So let me come in quite a bit more. Okay. So what this information is this is a breakdown. Special education is broken into 13 categorical areas. Okay. And you'll see that green box on the side is all of the areas of disability services. Okay. And what you're going to see as I scroll over. Oh, yeah, Ron should probably see that too. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yep.
Janelle, isn't this a safe assessment? I mean, we kind of saw this coming with all the fraud that's happened in the state of Minnesota. I guess we kind of, I don't know, I guess personally, I kind of saw that coming. We weren't going to be able to do this free lunch thing forever. And of course it got abused and everything comes to an end. Oh,
okay. I wasn't sure. I thought you were talking about special education.
No, but the lunch situation. I mean, it just we kind of figured that wasn't going to last forever. So, personally, it really didn't break my heart. I mean, we can't have everything for free. So,
okay. So circling back to kind of the data at hand here. Within the Paynesville area schools, this document is going to show you from 2020 to 2025, what our numbers are for each disability area. Okay. So you can see that for speech language in 2020, our population served 2.53% of our special education services were in that speech and language area. Okay. When you come over to 2025, you're going to see it's 4.38%. Okay. You're also going to see that the second column right next to the 2025 is across the state, what the state average is. And so our state average is 3.11%. Okay. So there's this is a little bit of an indicator of our service breakdown across the district. This is, I want to be clear, these are our resident students. Okay. So if a student lives in our school district and they don't receive services here, they are still counted in these numbers. Okay, so one of the things at the ed district level that we've been talking about is pulling this similar information to the kids we serve, because we have students from other school districts that come in and we serve as well. Okay, but this is also how our funding is generated. So that's why we do the breakdown of the child count in the population. Okay. Next thing I just wanted to kind of share, I had the opportunity to go to the MASA conference on Thursday and Friday. I linked in the keynote speaker. His name is George Kuros. He's an educator, international speaker and author. And it really, he talked about bringing people together during times of conflict. And I think it was one of my key takeaways was the importance of, instead of having somebody who has a different perspective than you, the importance of drawing them in to hear and listen and understand, so you can see the lens through which, or understand the lens through which they're seeing whatever conflict it might be. So that was a nice message. So I linked his website in there. And then I wanted to kind of do a quick shout out that Mr. Rasmussen, Mrs. Akerson, and Mrs. Rasmussen and I had an opportunity. We submitted a proposal for a presentation and we were selected. And so we were able to share a little bit about what's been happening at the Paynesville area schools, and in moving from compliance to the READ Act to K-12 and K-10 MTSS implementation in a sustainable way. So I linked that presentation in for you if you'd like to take a look at it, but it was a really fun opportunity to share what we're doing here in Paynesville, because I know sometimes, and I think of you often, Bruce, when I hear you say, we kind of forget about like what we do here is pretty cool. When we share our story and people are saying, how are you doing that? And you get to do what? So we took that opportunity to share some of our story, and it was really well received. So that's what I have for an administrative update today.
Do we do financial reports?
They're linked in. If there aren't any
Okay.
questions, yeah,
Okay.
that's good.
Moving on to the student representative reports.
So NHS just hosted a very successful blood drive with a total of 44 pints of blood donated. Tomorrow, the middle school spelling bee will be happening. That is our second year doing that. And then lastly, our induction ceremony will be held on Sunday with a meal and a ceremony at the high school. SAD just selected its new board members for next year, and they're just continuing doing activities at the elementary school.
Student council, we're just wrapping up our food shelf, and for FFA, we're getting ready for state, and then we have regions FFA talent.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everyone. Moving on to the committee organizational reports. Any?
We had West Central Ed District. We had that at the beginning of the going very well up there. Some of the information that you guys and I just kind of mentioned up there. Well, actually, we were here. Mrs. Bullard and I were here because we had our school board meeting that same night. But it went very well. And then for the district-wide, just a phenomenal group of people that come together and set up as far as all this. That group of people just really amazed me. So.
They run us on that stuff, ballot prices.
For feedback.
Looking for a motion to.
Bruce, Cheryl, Rachel, Thomas,
Janelle, I can't hear anybody. Our technology is extremely poor. I'm going to go off. This isn't working. The call. I'm just going to go off the call. This isn't working at all.
Yeah. Read. Last year was 66. 66. When you start working, because when we did estimate. Three sections. And then she picked up services. These days. Okay. Position again. Of TV. You know,
Second, Carol. A roll call vote.
Bruce,
Aye.
Cheryl,
Aye.
Jacob,
Aye.
Rachel,
Aye.
Thomas,
Aye.
Cheryl.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to the personnel policies for support staff, 25-27.
So the handbook is really the policies that guide a lot of the employees that you saw up in the at-will in the consent agenda. And the intention of this is to really make it clear and to communicate to those individuals what benefits kind of come with their employment. So there's the changes are fairly minor to date updates. And then also just a clarity that made reference to some union type work and contract, and it's a handbook, it's not a union contract. So just making sure that there was some clarity to the handbook, outlining that it truly is a handbook. Okay. Those would be the changes that were presented. And the pay scales have been updated to reflect the work that took place with the committees.
I'll make a motion to approve the personnel policies for support staff.
Motion by Thomas,
Second.
second by Bruce. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Moving on to the fiscal year 27 revised long-term facilities maintenance.
So if you think back to a couple meetings ago, Cheryl brought to our attention the bill for our mold mitigation with our steam scenario. And the Department of Education suggested that we revise our long-term facility maintenance plan in order to include that expense. So that's what you're going to see as the revision, is the revised 10-year plan, according to what MDE would like us to do.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to accept the revised maintenance facility plan.
Motion by Gerald,
I'll second.
second by Jacob, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Next up is the revised 26-27 school calendar.
This is pretty minor, but it was a big deal. There is no structural inherent change to the notion of the calendar, but there was a big date change. And so I want to just call out that what happened is in May, we had 2 18s that were reflected, which impacted the graduation date. It has been rectified and corrected. A thank you to the parent that brought that to our attention. I can't believe that the number of eyes that have been on that document and didn't see it. So thank you immensely to the parent, and it has been corrected, and it's going to be communicated in the secondary handbook. It'll be posted on our website, but that's the change that took place.
Make a motion to accept the revised calendar.
Motion by Gerald,
I'll second.
second by Cheryl, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Moving on to the employee appreciation informational.
Okay. So March 1st through 7th was National School Social Work Week. So if you click on the document, you're going to see the 4 individuals, and I'll share them out by name. So our social work and our mental health support model is a little bit, it's kind of a quasi support. We have a social worker who's hired through the West Central Ed District. And that's Ella. Jesse, help me. Falardo, thank you. Every time I look at her, she just helps me. So Ella is hired through the West Central Ed District as our social worker at the secondary building. Kennedy Hoskins is our elementary social worker. She is a Paynesville area schools hire. And then Sarah Hansen and Brady Klaphockey are mental health providers through Greater Minnesota. And they are co-located mental health providers that are in our building. So a little appreciation for them for the week of March 1st through 7th. So that's just informational and acknowledgement.
Moving on to the review of upcoming meetings. I think everything's there. Anything missing? Hearing nothing, moving to close the meeting.
Make a motion to close the meeting pursuant Minnesota statute chapter 13D03 at 6:33 p.m.
Looking for a second.
I'll second.
Second by Jacob, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the meeting is now closed.
I'll make a motion that we reopen the meeting at 7:14.
Motion by Cheryl,
I second.
second by Jacob, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the meeting is now open at 7:14 p.m. Now, moving on.
Make a motion to
Motion to adjourn?
adjourn. Close again.
Is that your motion?
Yeah,
Then I'll second it. All right, I'll second it.
Motion by Bruce, second by Gerald to adjourn the meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned at 7:15 p.m.